Good morning, folks. It's Saturday, 23rd of May, 2020, and today I woke up and I kind of had this sudden inspiration to share a few other things that are pretty strange. Anyways, I'm going to try to talk a little bit faster in this video because I have a tendency to talk a bit slow and think while I'm talking, and maybe for a YouTube video that's not ideal. So if maybe some of you guys might have heard of the idea of a Watchman of the Apocalypse. This is all things that I learned reasonably new within like the last year as my journey to learn from reading the Bible and a lot of online material. I mean, it's amazing, right? There's just so much to get yourself into, and at first I kind of thought, hey, this is sort of boring and trite. I mean, probably around 2,000 pages of really weird texts. But once you kind of get into it, it's quite enjoyable. Maybe this is the type of spiritual conditioning God has in store for people. But anyways, back to this idea about the Watchmen of the Apocalypse. There's this concept of a bunch of people that are given signs and visions as they look around and see what's happening in the world. Maybe it's almost like a weird form of a prophet or something like that, I don't know. But there are definitely a few people online who stream their experiences. And all I can tell you is that, sure, there's probably a lot of people that are capable of lying and making things up and just want attention or have mental problems and share a bunch of crap. Or people that can't discern the difference between made-up fantasies and what are truly signs. I'm just going to group this term signs. It's a manifold of many different things. But I, on the other hand, not that I can so easily tell the difference between somebody that's utter full of BS and somebody that's speaking the truth. This has always been the discerning challenge, is to know what are the signs. I mean, even Jesus of Nazareth had problems convincing people who he was, right? I mean, how insane is that? And you can totally understand. But that's why with a few of these guys online, I get the sense that they're very on point, that they're legitimate. And there's one guy in particular, and there's probably tons online these days. I haven't even seen all the so-called Watchmen of the Apocalypse that stream on YouTube. But one guy I can definitely vouch for. His name is Tony Lamb. And his videos are interesting, and I really recommend that you watch them. There's going to be a link to his channel at the description of this video. I'm going to share with you a little hint of authenticity that God showed me. And the story is weird, but it's pretty cool. So God once in a while will spontaneously show me something in a mental vision. And this is one of the several ways that he interacts with me. And the mental visions can usually last no more than about a half a second to a second. And at the time that you see them, they're always pretty extraordinary, but you don't know what it means. The meaning emerges over time, which is all part of the authentication process. And no, it's not me subjecting meaning onto it. is a totally different thing. It's not like that. So after bumping into Tony Lamb's channel on YouTube, I kept watching his videos because I was quite, they cut me, and I found them, how do you say it, my curiosity was drawn to follow him, and he has had heavy dreams and visions where he's shown a very terrifying state of that seems to be right around the horizon within our timeline of perspective, but they looking really bad, you know. And then he probably, even when this was first happening to him, can you imagine him struggling with the idea of having to share this, because he'd be labeled insane, right? But here's a little thing that I saw. I had a spontaneous vision, and what it was is it was of if I first try to describe, everything is like a black background. It looks like you're hovering in space or something, but there's no stars. And on the ground is a cross that's almost like a neon light. It's in a particular shape, and the geometry of the cross is accentuated in your awareness. God will make sure that you're paying attention to the things He needs you to pay attention to. At the time you don't know why, but you're just really noticing the certain dimensionality to this cross. And you get the feeling that it's vast and large. And then it just rises from the ground, boom, like this. And I'm seeing it from the back, and it rises up. And you get the idea that a great powerful being is on the other side of it, like a God Himself almost, and it's rising, and it's Him saying, "I conquered death," you know? But the key is still for me to pay attention to the geometry of the cross, and I thought, that's weird. Okay, it's a funny looking cross. Not funny looking, but it's peculiar. The geometry is peculiar. Now, a few months later, I see an upload from this guy, Tony Lamb, and it's an upload of him where the thumbnail on the YouTube video is is his church, and in the background of their church is a cross, you know, where the dude's like talking, the pastor talks, and behind him they have this cross. And I see on the thumbnail, and I think, whoa, that is reminiscent of this cross that I saw in the vision. So I'm digesting that. I'm thinking, could it be? Should I write Tony and ask him? By now, spontaneously, I've actually established email communication with the guy, because I felt so compelled to write him and thank him for what he's doing, because he's sticking his neck out way out here. I mean, you're literally burning your life away when you go and do these things, I would imagine, you know, like, just go look at his videos and you tell me if you would easily say those things. But then one day I thought, okay, I'm going to ask him. I'm going to ask him about that cross. So I wrote Tony and I asked him if he could go and, next time he's in that church, if he could take some pictures of the cross and send them to me, because I just needed to look at it a little closer. Because the thumbnail on his video was sort of, you know, far away, but immediately it was the geometry that stuck out. And you know what? Like, he sent, about a week later, he attached some images of that cross, and it was what I saw in the vision. And I thought, wow, there's another cool one, guys. Like, whoa. I just struggle with the idea. I just wonder, like, why is it that other people aren't just shown these things? Like, it would take away the entire issue of faith. Anyways, that's another detail. maybe this is what he wants. I mean, some of the texts I've read talk about God as being the God that hides himself so that we must seek him. And somewhere in the sort of murkiness of uncertainty, he wants us to condition our spirit's aspect of faith. Just blindly believe. And when you have a hint, when you have a taste of it, don't let it fade away. When you see it fading away, throw everything in with blind faith. I think that's what he wants. It's sort of like something like that. Anyways, link in the bottom for Tony Lamb's stuff. Highly recommend checking it out. Yeah.